Okay, so let's start with projectile motion practice today. This is an A-level physics question. So let's see what we have in the question. We have an athlete who is going from point A to point B, and in doing so, the center of mass covers a vertical distance of 1.2. And the question is asking us to find the time between point A and B. If you look at the question, this is a category 1 projectile motion question. Now, what's a category 1? So category 1 means that projectile is launched from height and it covers this kind of motion. Whenever we have this kind of motion, the initial velocity in the y direction is taken to be 0 meter per second. And whatever velocity is given to us as the initial velocity, that will be your horizontal velocity. Now, how do we know that from the question that it's a category 1 question? If you look at the question, they use the word horizontally. Horizontally actually means that projectile is launched with 0 initial vertical velocity. Okay, let's start with the question. So what are we given? We are given the S value to be 1.2 meters. We know that during vertical motion, acceleration is acceleration due to gravity, which is 9.81 meter per second square. Right? What else do we know? We know that initial velocity in the vertical direction is 0 meter per second. Okay, after this, the question is asking you to find time. So let's put a question mark for that. After writing your givens, you need to look at the formula sheet to see which formula can help you to find the required quantity. We have these 4 kinematic equations, and out of this one is the one that we can use. So we can use the formula S is equal to ut plus half at square. So when you plug in the numbers into this, we have 1.2 meters as the S value. Your U value is 0 and time is something we need to find, and then half times A, which is 9.81, and t square as it is. So this is what we have. After this, we just rearrange it, so we can write it as 1.2, 1 over 2, 9.81, t square, and then 1.2. So as you know, we have to solve for t, so we need to isolate t. We'll multiply the equation by 2 and divide it by 9.81. So by doing that, we get, and then we'll take the square root of the entire equation. Now you just need to plug it in your calculator. Okay, so we get 0.49 seconds. If you look at the question, they have assigned 3 marks to this question. So let's see how each step matters to get those 3 marks. The first step is basically identifying which equation to use. So the first mark goes to that. Now the second mark goes to writing the process of finding the value, like writing the process of finding t. And then 1 mark goes to the correct answer. Remember this thing that you have to write the answer in just 2 decimal places. That's enough. Because in the question also, as you can see, we have 2 significant figures. So you don't need to put too many decimal places, numbers after the decimal places. Okay? Okay. Now let's see the second question. The athlete is moving horizontally at A with a velocity of 8.5 meter per second square. Assume that there is no air resistance. You have to calculate the horizontal displacement of the center of mass from A to B. So for the horizontal displacement, we have to consider the horizontal motion. So when it's going from A to B, it's covering a horizontal distance. In this case, they have given you that the initial horizontal velocity, which is u, that is 8.5. Do we know anything else? Yes, we know the time it took. So the time it took is 0.49 seconds, and the question is asking you to solve for distance. So which equation can help you? In horizontal direction, acceleration is equal to 0. So you can use the same equation, S is equal to ut plus half at square, and put the acceleration equal to 0. So we can use the same one, S is equal to ut plus half at square. And in this case, acceleration is 0. So this whole thing becomes 0, and that gives you S is equal to U times T. Now remember to use the correct value of U and time. Don't use the U value to be 0 because that was for the vertical part. In projectile motion, we have to keep vertical and horizontal quantities separate from each other. So we get 8.5 times 0.49 seconds. So when you put it in the calculator, okay, that gives you 4.2 meters. And that's your answer. Now, how would you get the 2 marks? So again, 1 mark is for writing the formula and the second mark is for the correct answer. So that's how you can get the full score on this question. Let's move ahead to the third one. The athlete is in the image. So now, when the athlete reaches point B, he's sliding a horizontal distance. So he's sliding a horizontal distance. They have provided you that distance is 0.35. So after reaching from point A to point B, and then he's sliding in horizontal distance, which is 0.35, and stopping over here. So we can say that final velocity is 0. And what's the initial velocity? Initial velocity will be 8.5. Because in this case, we are talking about just horizontal motion. So athlete will only have horizontal velocity, 8.5 meter per second. Okay. Now, what is the question asking us? The question is asking you to find the time. So time is missing in this. So which formula would you use? If you look at the formula sheet, in this case, we know the S value, we know the U value, we know the V value, and we have to find time. So let's look at the formula sheet. The formula that can help us to do that is this one. S is equal to U plus V over 2. So S is equal to U plus V over 2 times T. S value is 0.35 and U is just 8.5 plus V is 0. Why is it 0? Because they are saying that it comes to a stop. And then divided by 2, and time is something we need to find. So after doing the calculation, again you have to rearrange for time. So you'll multiply the equation by 2 and divide it by 8.5. So after doing the calculation for this, I'm getting 8.2 times 10 to the power of negative 2 seconds. Again, this is a 2-mark question. So 1 mark is for the formula and 1 mark is for correct answer. That's how you can get full marks in this one. Let's move ahead. They have given you the mass of athlete and we have to calculate the horizontal component of resistive force. So for this part, what you need to find the force. You're given the mass. And what is the mass? Mass is 75 kilogram. So how can you do that? If you find acceleration, you can use Newton's second law, which is force is equal to mass times acceleration. So acceleration, how can you do that? We know the time, we know the initial velocity, we know the final velocity. So that can help you to find time. That can help you to find acceleration. So acceleration is, let's look at the formula sheet again. This formula. If you rearrange it, acceleration is V minus U over T. So we can write it over here, V minus U over T. Now what's your V value? Your V value is 0. Why? It's coming to a stop. Your U value is 8.5. And what's your time? Time is 8.2 times 10 to the power of negative 2. Now put that in a calculator. So that's giving me 103.2. And what are the units for acceleration? Meter per second square. But the question is not over yet. You still have to find force. So force is equal to mass times acceleration. Mass is 75. Acceleration is 103.2. Let me put that in a calculator. Okay, so after rounding up, I'm getting 7700 newtons. Now, how will you get the 3 marks which are assigned to this question? 1 mark is for using this formula over here. The second mark is for this formula over here. Sorry. And the third mark is for the right answer. So that's how you can get the full marks in this question. So this was the question on projectile motion. It was basically based on horizontal projectile. I hope you understood it. Thank you.